In the Middle East, Jerusalem, a city under siege. Inside its walls, pandemonium. Outside, 12,000 men, intent on butchery. Crusaders. Spearheading the attack, Tancred de Hauteville, a Norman knight descended from Vikings, filled with bloodlust.
So many people have died in the name of religion. Wars fought over religious belief have spilled so much blood. But I think of all the wars fought over religion, the Crusades belong in their own category.
The slaughter here resonates to this day. Tancred de Hauteville, a Christian knight on a mission from God. In the Holy Land, waging war on Islam. By the end of the 11th century, 600 years after the fall of Rome, the two religions are great rivals. Christianity dominates in the West and North, Islam in the East and South. Determined to curb the advance of Islam, the Pope calls on Christians to take up arms. Their target, the holy city of Jerusalem.
On the eve of the Crusades, Jerusalem under Muslim rule was actually a hotbed of creativity and interreligious dialogue. There were Jews, there were Christians, there were Muslims. For the most part, they lived in relative harmony.
But each lays claim to the city. Jews revere it as their ancient capital. Muslims know it as Al-Quds, the holy. From here, the Prophet Muhammad journeyed to heaven. And for Christians, Christ was crucified here.
It's amazing when you go to Jerusalem, if you just stop for a second, you'll see that these people actually have more in common than they have that are differences. They are the sons and daughters of Abraham.
To all who join the crusade, Pope Urban offers eternal salvation, declaring,
"The Lord beseeches you to destroy that vile race from the lands of our friends. All who die by the way shall have immediate remission of sins."
A knight could sin as much as he liked, and simply by going to the Holy Land, he had been given forgiveness by the Pope. He had been given his passport to heaven. He could win fame, he could win glory, and he could come back with booty. It is one of the most shameful undertakings ever embarked upon by our species.
with absolution assured, nothing holds back the Crusaders. One records joyfully.
Piles of heads, hands, and feet were to be seen in the streets of the city. It was a just and splendid judgment of God that this place should be filled with the blood of the unbelievers.
If I have a belief system that literally says, God tells me that I must slaughter anyone who wants to stop me from being here, it will allow you to justify any horrific act you take at that point.
Tancred hesitates. Decides to ransom the Muslims and stop killing them. He gives them his standard, a signal to others that they're under his protection. At the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, he prays.
Having a singular belief system where I've deferred responsibility to God can allow me to do brutal things on a battlefield.
Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificatur nomen.
But I think when it gets quieter, when the images come back into the mind, that has effect on a human being.
Amen.
Returning, he finds his captives slaughtered behind his back by other crusaders.
The Crusades were as bad as it gets. Remember that these guys embraced the same God, many of the same beliefs, the same prophets, and yet the streets ran deep with their blood and that of their brothers. It shows the extraordinary power of ideas to take hold of people's minds and drive them to commit acts of great sacrifice and love on the one hand, but also acts of tremendous barbarity and hatred on the other. It's the double-edged sword of religious belief.
The Crusades will continue for 2 centuries and cost more than 1 million lives.